In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a chat box on your website just like this using a free plugin. I'm logged in with my username, so you see my name up here. Whatever user is logged into your site, this will show their username. They can add a message like hello, click on submit, and it adds their message right over here. There's a bit of a delay. That's a setting inside of the plugin that delays that a little bit to save server resources. And using this chat box, you can chat with your community on your website. You can have this behind locked pages with a membership plugin if you want, or you can have it just with a regular WordPress login, or you can have it free to the public. Whatever you want to do, I'm going to show you all that in this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below this video. I try to answer them the best I can. My name is Bjorn Allpass from the WPLearningLab. We will help you get better WordPress so you can earn more for yourself, for your customers, and for your business. And if you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Now let's get started. The first thing we have to do is go into the WordPress dashboard, and then we go to plugins and add new, and then we search for simple chat Ajax or simple Ajax chat, one of those two. It's right here, simple Ajax chat. This is a great one. That's just a really simple chat plugin. It's created by Jeff Starr. He has lots and lots of plugins. One of my favorites is Black Hole for Robots, I think it's called. It basically blacklists any robots that don't follow the rules in your robots.txt file. I have a tutorial for that plugin on the channel if you want to see it, linked to in the description down below. Anyway, Jeff makes great plugins. He has lots of them. They're always well maintained. If you're installing this on a live site, I encourage you to back up your site first, just in case something goes wrong. It's pretty uncommon these days, but if something does go wrong, it's great to have a backup. There's a link in the description down below to a backup tutorial if you need help with that. Click on install now when you're ready, then click on activate. And then we have a new link under settings and simple Ajax chat. Let's click on that. And we see the plugin settings right here. All the options are collapsed. It looks like there's no settings at all. Just click on it and it'll open the settings. We can change the name. Let's call this website chat. Welcome to the chat forum. That works for the default message. This is the message that will appear as the first chat comment when someone comes in. You can require a login. This is probably a good idea. Otherwise, you're going to have spam bots or people who really just aren't part of your tribe trying to use the chat. So I'd recommend you turn require login on. You can have a display mode so people can view chats as read only, so visitors can't actually see them. This works hand in hand with requiring login. So if you require login, the people who are logged in can add their own chat messages. If you check this box, then people who are not logged in can still see the chat messages, but they can't actually submit their own. So if you want to have the chat completely hidden from people who aren't logged in, uncheck this. If you want them to see the chat but not actually be able to use it, then check this box. Check this box if you want the logged in username to be the person's display name for the chat. If you leave this unchecked, they can set their own username, and they can actually set different usernames for different messages. So they could have their first message sent as Bob, then you can change the username in a little form and have it say Frank, and then have it say Jim. So for security and to prevent impersonation of other people, you might want to check this box where they're required to use their logged in username, and that can't be changed. And if you're finding this tutorial helpful, click the like button because that helps this video show up for more people on YouTube so we can spread the knowledge and help more people with this information. So make sure to click like if you like this video. You can allow users to specify a URL for their chat name. This is going to be a clickable link in the chat. I would encourage you to not check that. If it's just a general chat on your website for your tribe, that leads to spamming, so I'd not have that. Large input fields are always a good idea. You can have sound alerts for new chat messages. The chat order makes it so chats appear, the new ones appear at the bottom, which is the common way for chats to appear. This requires jQuery. jQuery is built into WordPress, so you don't have to worry about that requirement. It should work just fine. Let's turn that on. We're going to disable IP collection, so no IP addresses will be stored in the database. You can change the maximum number of chats. It can go up above the limit they had there. Let's see if we can do 10,050. You can change the max number of characters for each chat message. So instead of people being able to write novels, they're limited to a smaller amount if you want to have that. You can also have a username length limited to 20 characters. This will just cut off if the username is longer than that. I don't think this would stop people from using the chat if the username is longer than 20 characters, but I'm not sure about that. You can customize notifications. You can have a notification icon. It has one built in. We'll see what that looks like in a minute. The notifications also have a URL that they can click on to see the new chat message. You can disable that URL if you want by checking that. You can also disable all notifications by checking this. I'll keep those turned on. The update interval, which is set to 3000 milliseconds or 3 seconds, is how often the chat refreshes. So when someone types a chat and they hit enter, it can take up to 3 seconds for that message to appear. You can put this down to 1 second, which is 1000 milliseconds, or even 100 milliseconds if you want it really fast. But if you do that, that's more work for your server. So even when there's no chatting happening, and it's not high-paced chatting, this is going to be refreshing every 100 milliseconds. And that can really put a strain on your server resources. I'm going to keep mine at 3 seconds. The fade is an effect for new chat messages. They fade in over 1.5 seconds. You can change that if you want. You can change the fade colors, so it fades from this color to this color. You can enable custom styles if you want. This is a CSS box for all your custom styles if you know CSS. In this box here, we can specify exactly where the chat files are going to load. If we don't have anything in here, the JavaScript for the chat is included on every single page, which you don't necessarily want. So you want to have it just on the pages where it exists. I'm going to put the chat box onto a page called chat. So let's add the chat URL there. You can have it on multiple pages, different chats on different pages if you want. And you can add those pages here. Just separate them with a comma and then add a new one. VIP chat could be a different chat page, for example. You have as many as you want in here. And like I said, if you don't put anything in, the chat files are going to appear on every single page, which may have an effect on your site load time. You can also have custom content before the chat box, after the chat box, before the chat form, and after the chat form. You can set banned phrases. That's usually pretty smart. And you can come back in here anytime and add new phrases. For example, if somebody says something you never heard of before, but you don't like it, you can come back in here and put in that phrase, separated with a comma, and then click on Save Settings, and that phrase will be banned from the chat. Under Manage Chat Messages, you can delete chat messages. You can either delete individual ones, or you can delete all of them. These, of course, go into your database because they're being displayed. They have to be stored somewhere. And so your database can get quite large if your chat limit up here, where we set ours to 10,050 right here, max number of chats, that can be a lot of information that's put into your database. If you want to clear that once in a while, you can come here and delete all chat messages. You can also export chat messages before you delete them if you want to. You can also restore defaults. So if you customize this plugin and it didn't really work out how you wanted to, and you wanted to go back to what it was originally, click on Restore Defaults, and that'll restore it back to what it was when it first installed. And then we have the shortcode, which is the actual chat box. We're going to put this onto a page. There's also template code if you want to put this into your theme files. We're going to use a shortcode for this tutorial. I'm going to copy that. And before we leave this page, we want to make sure we save our settings. Let's go back to the top. The only area where we change stuff, there's 2 areas. And it turns out you have to save them each individually. So we have the plugin settings, and it has its own save button. Let's get to it right here, Save Settings. So that's for the plugin settings tab. All these settings are now saved. Had you make changes in this tab as well, but you click Save Settings up here, those would not have saved. So the Save Settings buttons are not all created equal on this page. Each individual area where a Save Settings button exists, you need to press it for that area once changes are made. So now let's use that shortcode that we got on the shortcode and template tag here, and let's put it onto a page. Let's go to Pages and Add New. I'm going to call this page Chat. That should make the URL chat as well. So it loads the files. As you recall, we added the specific URL of our domain name /chat, and that's where the files will be loaded. Let's look up shortcode. There it is right there. Let's paste in the shortcode, click on Publish, and then Publish again. And then let's go to View Page. And here's our chat box. And this message was left 13 minutes ago. This was by the admin, which is me in this case. This is just the plugin generated first message. We have our username as our name, and here's our message box. Click on Submit, and it adds our message right over here. You notice there was a delay. because we have it set to refresh every 3 seconds. So depending on when during that refresh we submit our message, it could take up to 3 seconds for it to submit. It might also appear instant because it might have been right at the end of the 3 seconds when we hit submit. Either way, having a longer time frame for that refresh reduces the load on your server. And now anyone who's logged into your site can access this page and start chatting. And by default, the username is going to be what's shown. And I think that works out pretty well. And as far as I know, you can't have multiple chat rooms on your site. When I try to add this shortcode and add a chat box to a different page, it pulls in the same chat information. So you can have multiple chat boxes on your site using this plugin, but they all contain the same chat messages, which kind of defeats the purpose of multiple pages, I think. But either way, if you want to use a chat box, this is a great plugin to use, and it's totally free. Next up, check out this playlist right here, where I help you speed up your site beyond what you might think is possible. If you want a faster site, check out that playlist. And if you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos. My name is Bjorn Allpass from WP Learning Lab. Till next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.